Hi there! Hope you enjoyed the first two videos and tried to apply it in your game. Time to move on to the next principles. These will give you an all-round structure while playing a game. Do stay focused while learning and let's begin. Our principle number 11 says that the central pawn structure is an important base for understanding the role of minor pieces as well as formation of the plan. So we already know that e4, d4, e5, d5 are the central squares, and most of the times the placement of these pawns in the center will determine the play. Let us go through a few moves here. And this is Perk opening. It's played from black against e4. Knight f3, bishop g7, bishop e2, castle, castle, knight bd7, h3. Now we come to a position where I want to talk to you about different types of center. Here black played a standard move e5 and white has a few choices. d5. If white reacts with this move d5, then it's a close center because you see there are no exchanges possible and the pawns also cannot be pushed further, so they are quite fixed. Another choice is to go bishop e3. Let's say e takes d4, knight takes d4, and here you can see that there is scope for white's pieces to move. Same with the black's pieces also to attack the central pawn. So this is more towards the open center and it will lead to more attacking and interesting positions much faster than other types of center. What other choice does white have? Yes, if white captures on e5, d into e5, d into e5, and now you see it has characteristics of both open center and closed center because you see these pawns are fixed and cannot be pushed, whereas these two squares are vacant and can be occupied by both side pieces. Also, this is one open file where the exchanges of major pieces, that is rook and queen, can happen and lead to simplifying positions as well. There is one more possibility if black tries to, just hold on and plays something like c6. Here the center is still flexible because this pawn and these pawns, they can move to e5 or d5 at any point of time and it will be decided based on the placement of their pieces. So it's still a flexible center. These are the common four types of center which you must know: open center, closed center, semi-open and flexible center. Here we are, principle number 12. Knights are good in closed positions because knight is a slow piece, which means unlike the bishop, knight takes time to reach a square which is far. Let's have a look at example position. Who do you think is better? It doesn't take much time to realize that this knight is anytime superior to the dark squared bishop which is blocked by its own pawn chain. The wall-like structure gives time for the knight to maneuver. Knight goes to e3, bishop d8, knight f5. Personally, I can tell you that no piece can be as beautifully dangerous as the knight when it comes to a beautiful square. Here it attacks both the pawns and it's not possible to defend it with such a bad bishop. What I want to show you is, look at the center. It's closed right now, completely blocked, and the knight can easily roam around like a traveler. What I'll show you is I'll take away all the pawns, and now this is how the position will look. Oh my, what a open position. Without pawns, everything is suddenly shifted. The bishop can now breathe, as you can see. So what should black play here? Yes, bishop f4, and you can see that the bishop dominates the knight and the knight has become very passive now. The king is going to jump in and attack these two pawns. So here we are, principle number 13. Bishops are good in open positions and bishops are good or bad is dependent on the center pawns. So if you have a light square bishop, try to obtain a dark pawn chain and vice versa. You learn the types of center and some basic strengths of knights and bishops. So I want to give you two choices, e5 and d5 in this position. What will you play? We have only one bishop left, which is a light square bishop, and hence, as per our principle, try to obtain the opposite color pawn chain. So d5 would not be the right move because it's the light square, same as our bishop, and hence we will go for e5, which is the dark square, and we have a light square bishop, the diagonal opens. So let's solidify your knowledge from what you have learned until now. This is the Boko Indian opening from black, and one bishop is exchanged as you see. Question for you is, whether black should go for d6 or d5. So d5 if is played, then this bishop is not going to be very happy, because you see the light square pawn chain same as the bishop color. No, it's going to restrict the movement. Hence, as per what we have learned in principle 13, d6 is the right move. After e4, e5, wanting to open this diagonal, and white went for d5, a closed center as we have already seen, where in closed center, which minor piece is good? Knights. Yes, knights are good in closed positions. Can you find a move for black where he is ready to give up his bishop? Yes, bishop g4 is the right move, wanting to exchange with this knight, finally landing up with two knights against one knight, and not so good light square bishop, as we know, because of the light square pawn chain. Moving onwards to our next principle, as you see, white's minor pieces are developed and he is nicely castled. Now logically, white would like to develop his queen, but where and why? Also need to understand what's opponent's idea. It will help us to decide the right square for our queen. So black's idea is to play c5, and it wants to challenge the center. Hence, here if we have to look at some few options, a move like queen b3, if there any exchanges happen, the knight is going to jump in with a tempo. If let's say the queen goes to a4, then after a6, again there's a threat of b5, and this knight is going to jump in on b6, maybe go to d5 later. Now doesn't look so good. If the queen goes to c1, the rooks are not connected. After c5, it's going to be again on the open file, and doesn't look very happy to be on that open file. So if queen d2, it has to be alert for this knight e4 attack anytime in the future if the knight moves. Apart from that, the knight on f3 is weak. Of course, it's not the right time. You don't want to exchange this bishop because it's a good bishop. So that is also not the best move. And hence, queen e2 is the right move, which takes us to our principle number 14. That the queen should be developed where it will not come under attack and will be as active as possible. And when the queen is developed and rooks are connected, we call as the development stage being complete. For the final principle, I want to show you a very short attacking game by a famous grandmaster Shirov, who is white and is known as a very aggressive player. e4 controlling the center, as we know. c5, knight f3 developing the minor pieces, d6, d4 already challenging the center, c into d4, knight into d4, and you can already see that it's the open center because we have only one pawn on the center. Knight f6, knight c3, both the knights are developed. a6, bishop g5, time for the bishops now, and the bishop is on a very nice diagonal here. e6, queen e2, as we have already discussed this, queen should not come under attack. Queen c7, long castle. The rooks are connected here. Principle number 15. Quite a simple one. As you have already seen, commonly we first move the pawns in the center, then the minor pieces, followed by major pieces, and the king as the piece in the endgame. Continuing with the game, b5. White played an amazing move here. After all the development is complete, he captured the e6 pawn. And after knight into e6, for these two pawns, white has given a bishop, but because black king is in the center and he has not yet developed his minor pieces, nor his rooks are connected, so white is trying to take advantage of that. Queen c6, knight d5, the knight jumps on the central square, threatening knight c7 check and capturing the rook. Knight takes d5, e takes d5, and queen c4. Of course, when the queen is so attacking on e file, on open file, and the king is in the center, black is going to try to exchange the queen. Here, can you find mate in 2? Yes, it's right. It's the double check, knight c7 check, king f7, and now queen e6 check, and the king has nowhere to go. It's a mate, beautiful mate. A very nice game by Shirov. So principle number 15. Commonly, We first move the pawns in the center, then the minor pieces, then the major pieces, and not to forget the most important thing, that a king is a piece in the endgame. Endgame means where already our queens will be exchanged and some more pieces are exchanged. So basically it can come out in the lawn a little without worry, you can say, and it will help its own pieces. So that is a later part. We will come to it, of course, but for now you must remember this simple way. To summarize the 5 principles of today, principle number 11. Central pawn structure is an important base to understand the role of minor pieces and also for the formation of a plan. Principle number 12. Knights are a slow piece and hence good in closed positions. Principle number 13. Bishops are good in open positions because they are long range pieces. Bishops, whether good or bad, is dependent on the center pawns. Principle number 14. Queen should be developed where it will not come under attack and it will be as active as possible. The rook should get connected, which is called as the development stage is complete. And finally, we first move pawns in the center, then the minor pieces, followed by major pieces, and the king is a piece in the endgame. So, with now the 15 principles in mind, I bet already it will give you a direction of how to start playing well from the beginning by avoiding the typical mistakes. Also, the understanding about different pieces will also help you to make better choices over the board. Well, that's it. We are done with 15 principles for now, and I hope you can play better chess. I'm going to come up with more principles in the next video. Keep watching, and if you like, do subscribe to ChessBase India channel.